So the two books I would like to refer you to, if you want to learn more about this, is one is kind of a little bit out there, but it's the first seminal book written on this topic, and it's called Animal Talk by Penelope Smith, I think. And she's fabulous, and she's still in existence today, and you can find her directory, and she only lets us be on her directory if we pass like a 14-page test and have 10, 20 testimonials that she reviews. So you can't get on that site unless she decides that you're legit, okay? And then there is, like, Joan Ranquet was my teacher years and years ago, and she has a book called Communication with All Life. So those are two things that you could start with. And of course, you can join my group called Animal Whisperer on Facebook, and you're taking this class, and there are other things that you can do. So I want you to see me as a friend and resource, no matter what path you decide to take with this. And you can talk to trees, and you can talk to rocks, and you can talk to everything. You can talk to your house. Did you know that your house will like you better and treat you better if you say, hello, house. I love you, house. Thank you for this house. But if you're always thinking about how it's moldy or how it's got a problem, it'll just keep giving you more problems. Right? So let's kind of clean that stuff out. And are there any questions? I would like to do introductions, but I don't think we're going to have time today. So if there are any questions about this before I jump in, please let me know.
I do have a question. Will you send the titles and authors of those books in an email to make sure I got the names correct?
Yes, that's a very good idea. I will definitely do that.
Thank you.
I'll do that in the follow-up. You know, you got like 4 emails before this, so you're going to get a couple emails after this. And please know, my name, like if it comes from my name, you are on 2 different, it sounds complicated, but you're on 2 different email lists. So I have my main MailChimp email list, which should just say something like Care at Pet's Eye View. You'll have another one that's got like something like Kajabi or Academy at Pet's Eye View, because that's where my courses are housed. And I cannot merge the 2 in text speak without big problems in one way or another. So that's why but if you've been in this call, you are now eventually going to be moved to my main mailing list, and you'll get my bi-weekly, weekly newsletters. Okay. All right. Anything else? Okay, great. And Gretchen is here, who has taken my own Animal Soulmate Fellowship class before. And you know, she is also in my ongoing practice club. So she can speak up maybe at the end of our chat. I have one more person in the waiting room. Here we go. All right. With that, guys, I'm going to share my screen and we're going to get started so you can also get on with the rest of your day. If you guys happen to see that more people are in the waiting room, would you just holler at me, because it's going to be hard for me to tell. Okay. All right, guys. Can you see everything okay? Is is there stuff in your way? You holler. Someone holler. Linda, you are good holler.
It all looks good to me.
All right. All right. Got it?
Yes.
All right. So I am an animal communicator. I'm a nature whisperer, so I spend a lot of time in nature and connecting with flora and fauna of all types, including wild animals and dolphins and things. And I would consider myself a Western mystic, meaning I have studied the Kabbalah, the Western Kabbalah. I have studied paganism, witchcraft, meditative spirituality of various forms, and kind of melded it all together into my own kind of honoring of the cycles. I teach meditation, I teach spirituality, and I also teach animal communication. And the best ways to stay in touch with me are through my Facebook group, Animal Whisperer, private sessions, and some courses. I will also tell those of you who might be open to it that I am going to be planning a trip to Southwest England, to Glastonbury, Avebury, Stonehenge, Tintagel, and a couple of animal sanctuaries in July of 2024. So if with mystics and harpists and druids doing stone circles, if that sounds like fun to you, drop me a line, okay? I'm not going to do introductions today, and I want to talk to you about how I perceive getting better at animal communication to go. You have to become the clearest channel that you can. So if you are scattered and disorganized, which I can be, I have a pretty moderate case of ADHD myself. So part of the reason I'm sure that I'm on this path is because I started meditating when I was 26 years old and have not stopped since, and it keeps me grounded. I'm also a pretty good self-reflector of what's going on with myself and where I am screwing life up. If you are not able to be honest with yourself, or you are very confused about the state of your life or why things aren't working out for you, I am a big, huge proponent of some sort of counseling that can help you get where you want to be. Okay. But monitoring the self, looking at the self is part of what I teach through exercises and questions and meditation. And then we teach the animal telepathy part, which we're going to go into today. And I really don't believe you can be the best communicator with all living things if you are not actually aligned with the earth and paying attention to the sun and our environment and cleaning it up and conserving. And I mean, all of the energies of the earth and the animals appreciate when we are not just throwing our trash on the sidewalk, buying plastic all the time, stuff like that. So honoring the earth is very important to me. Okay, so I asked a question on our emails here. Did anybody come up with anything about how their animals dress? Did you guys think about that? Did you see the email? Yes. Tell me, Chrissy, how do you think your animal would dress if it were a human?
Heimdall would dress like a surfer guy. He would have board shorts and like blonde spiked hair, and then like one of those like rock out or like guns out, suns out, guns out type like tank tops that have like the big muscle part that are open, and then like a puka shell necklace.
Right on. She knows the essence of her animal. Did anybody else get a chance to do that exercise? Yes, Robin.
I did. Gracie, my cat, would be in the most comfortable clothes she could find. She already has a fur coat, so she doesn't need much. But loose sweatpants, a big comfy sweatshirt, so she can curl up and get warm and do her favorite thing, which is sleep.
Perfect. So she's a restful, relaxed person. Does anybody else have any ideas? Yes, Gretchen.
So it was hard actually. It wasn't really spending a lot of time on this. So I have 4 pets, but my oldest pet is Riley, who's a cat, and he's sort of like kind of the concierge and the butler of the house. So I pictured him in a very sharp looking Hugo Boss little suit. Sometimes he wears a fedora, and he just sort of like greets people as they walk in the door. And, he's like, how's it going and everything. And then he kind of stands back and just makes sure everybody's doing what he wants them to do. So he's the maestro. So that was the one that was very clear to me. And I do have one pet who also is in board shorts and a tank top. So
Isn't that lovely? Okay. Would anybody else like to share their thoughts? Yes, Linda and
So
Sarah.
I won't go through all 12, but there were 2 that really, because I was like, oh gosh, where do I start? But 2 really came out clear to me. One, Harley, she is a Maine Coon mix, and she knows she's gorgeous, and she is the one who will stop when you pull the camera out, as opposed to the other cats that are like, I don't know what you're doing. I wasn't doing anything. And she'll literally, like just pose and sit there like statuesque and graceful. So I got her in like some robes, cape, something beautiful, bright, she knows who she is. And then my daughter's cat Tiger, he basically lives upstairs with her, but he comes down about 3 times a day and patrols the house and stops and just walks through like a security guard. So I immediately had him in a security guard uniform, as I often do when I see him.
Yeah.
I'll even thank him for his service as he goes past.
Oh, that's awesome.
I'll go ahead and share.
Okay.
I have 3 that came to mind. My sweetie pie, she's an acrobat, so I think she would probably be a gymnast, right? She just runs around the house, and I have one of those cat trees that has like an arch on the top, and she just swings around the pole, and so I think she would be that. And then my Simon, I think he would be a Walmart greeter. He likes to greet everybody who comes in the house. And lastly, my Simba, I think he would be a cop, because he's always going around making sure everybody stays in line and gives them a little smack if they don't.
Yes. Well, it's very interesting when we talk about jobs a little bit later. I would say that that for cats, sometimes being a cop is fine. For a dog, I'm less of a fan of the job of a cop, because they tend to get rowdy and they're a little hard to control. Now, if a cat is being a cop, like I just got a request for a call for a session half hour before this call started, and the woman's like, all she says is, I need help with my cat who's peeing outside the box. And I'm like, all right, you can pay me, but how about, let me just make sure you've done these 3 things first. Vet, patrolling inside the house, looking outside the house. Your cat's peeing because of stress or a physical problem. Can you resolve those things on your own? If you cannot, and you have not been to the vet, you must go. And then if all those things are, I've done everything, then I'll talk to your cat. So but for a cat, if the patrolling is causing peeing, then you need to change the job, which was my point of saying that. Okay, Sarah, can you please tell us, you wanted to share what your animal might be? Yes, you, Sarah. Sarah in the green. You'll have to turn on your camera. I mean, you turn on your microphone. We can't hear you. I can see that she's talking and she's not muted on my end, so that I can see. Okay. All right. You can always write it in the comments. People would love to see that.
Type it in the chat.
Yeah, type it in the chat. Type it in the chat. The chat is at the bottom of your screen. All right, with that, if everybody's done sharing, I'm going to go back to sharing the presentation. Okay, so we know now, but you see how that is where it starts, right? Understanding who you think your pet is, and then you might ask them and they would have when you ask them after this call, I want you to practice your skills, and I want you to do it. Can you guys still see me? You guys can see me, right?
Yes.
Okay. I want you to practice it, believe it or not. And for the ones who have 12 and 19 cats, right? You need to like leave your house and go sit in a car, right? So that you're not there with them. I want you to practice it without being there. It will be much less distracting for you to be away from them. And then you can ask them, how close have I got this? And what would you like your job to be? Okay, that will be very helpful for you. Like my cat is staring at me right now, Celine, and she showed me some very specific outfits and it fits perfectly with who I know her to be. She's listening to all of you and kind of rolling her eyes at some of the things, these board shorts. She's not really sure about that. Okay, so I want you to know that you're already communicating, and I want you to use this Jedi mind trick that I'm going to give you now. You're going to have a little notebook so you can write your findings as you're talking to my animals. Bodies hold more than physical pain. So if you have an animal who you're calling a rescue, which I want you to stop doing like yesterday, but if you have an animal that you have rescued, you don't know what has happened to them. A communicator may be able to see some of that past life, or like sometimes for me now, years into this, like I will see generational fear of humans, for example, and I'll try to erase it up the generations. But releasing that pain and that trauma will change the nature of your animal. And this is nothing, as I said before, if you were on at the beginning of the call, this is nothing that you don't already do with your animals. You're just going to be honing it today. So secret number one, your Jedi mind trick is to flip the script and change the movie, right? So whatever most irritates you about your pets that you're most likely to complain about to others or to your partners in your home is the thing you want to stop thinking about. Even though it might happen right in front of you, it's easy for me to say, it's hard to enact. So if you have a dog who pulls on the leash 20 minutes before you go on that next walk, I don't want you to be thinking about how this is going to be a pain in the ass walk because he's going to be pulling on the leash, right? I want you to instead show him. Now, let's be careful. Let's not take someone who's like, just acted in their first high school play and then like give them the Academy Award for Best Actor, right? You're not going to tell the dog who's constantly a maniac on the walk that you're not going to show him a mental movie of being the perfect healer if he's never learned the heal command. But you can show him a mental movie of him listening to you and keeping his mouth shut instead of barking at the dog across the street. Same thing with a cat who's a little aggressive with other cats. You can show them walking by the cats or walking away from the room so that you're not feeding into it. Why? Because I'm not here to tell you like life is like The Secret, because it's not like The Secret. This is one tool in your toolkit. But the thing is, because the animals are always reading our minds and trying to send us messages, they somehow, and I've never really understood this, but they somehow are not very good interpreters of don't do that. And then you show them the movie of no, and da, 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 da. They see the movie and that's all they see. So if you send them telepathy of what you want, you're more likely to get it. Okay, are there any questions about that? All right. So then the other thing is they feel your mental stress and they read your pictures. So if you're having a crazy week, right? Or you've just had surgery and your animals are kind of all over the place, or someone passed away and you're sad, you will notice an uptick in negative behaviors or weird behaviors. And that's because they're feeling your stress. And that's where the first slide I showed you where I talked about self-care becomes very important, right? So people like to say, and I think I just did a TikTok about this that I shared on Instagram the other day, like, oh, my cat took my pain of my divorce off of me and she died. Isn't that wonderful of her? Thank you. They're so selfless. I say, screw that. I say, that's not your cat's job, right? So you've had a terrible time. I've had terrible times. I've just hit my 5-year post-cancer mark. I went through cancer that I had less than a 50% chance of living through in the first year of after cancer. And I sat and my animals were on top of me. I have pictures and pictures of 4 animals on top of me all the time. And I took care of my mental health and I did meditation and I spoke to them and I cleansed them. So watching this right now, I want you to look at me, what I'm doing, pretend that I'm at the head of your animal, about 2 inches above their head. And I want you to pull the energy off of them all the way through their tail if they have one. And I want you to pull it out the right side and out the right back pinky of their body. And same thing on the left side. And as you're doing that, I want you to be imagining that you are removing all bits of stress that either comes from them and their own karmic life or from the household that you live in off of their body. And you say, thank you so much for being my friend and a wonderful, loving creature in this house. But my stress is not your stress. You do not need to take a bullet for me. You do not need to worry about Sandy, Bob, whatever. Your life is your life and your job is whatever their job is. Am I making sense to you guys?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Linda. I can always trust Linda. She'll give me the good feedback. Thank you.
Anytime.
Um, okay, why am I go? Okay, so I did touch on this all. Don't communicate what you don't want happening. So if dog and cat are fighting, you don't want to be thinking about that. And when it does happen, because it will continue to happen some, while it's happening, you have to separate them, do whatever you have to do to redirect, but you're not thinking about, Tommy, he's such a dick. He's always on top of the cat. You're thinking, oh, here's the mental image of you walking away and being calm, and your altercations will drop down significantly. Okay, I don't want to go back. I want to go forward. So, okay. So if you take nothing away from today and you feel like you only see one thing or two things today, that's okay. Just remember that you are in charge of your energy field. So you get to decide. You get to decide, you know, how people are going to be in your house, how animals are going to be in your house. I always think of them as people anyway, but you want to manage the energy field in your house. If that means for you cleansing the energy field with rosemary, whatever you want to do, it's incense. If you want to take stock once a week with your family and say, how do we get on the same page on these things? If you know you have children who yell and scream a lot, maybe you find a way and a place for them to do that that's not right in the sensitive cat's ear. But you are in more control than you know. And I think I've been reflecting on this a lot because I think animals and people come in waves to me. And right now I seem to be having a wave of clients who feel out of control, right? They've never felt like they were the agent or the actor in their life. They always have felt like someone else or an outside circumstance was in charge. And let me tell you, pushy animals will take that and run with it, right? And not even pushy animals, but very anxious animals who sense that you feel like you are a victim of the world will try to protect you by doing things like barking like maniacs or patrolling the whole house. So I don't have all those answers for you. I could do more in session, but if that resonates with you, or you live with someone for whom you do think it resonates, do some thinking about both with these animals, but also in my life or in my partner's life or my daughter's life or whatever. How can I help them feel like they have more control and more agency? And as that shifts, your animal environment will shift as well. So you do also have the power to release emotional and physical pain that your pet may be hiding from you. And they do hide it very, very, very well. And when I do an animal communication session and when I teach my classes, I teach people to be like assessing pain, both by asking the animal about pain, but also like looking at the body. One of my models fell apart here. So I don't know can you see another model behind me, or maybe I'll bring it up to the screen. So I have this little model of a cat, right? And we learn about the organs and the muscular system and the endocrine system. And we then have like spirit can't really show you things you are not aware of. So if you don't know that there's a thyroid gland, if you don't know that how the kidneys work even just a little bit or where they are, it would be hard for you to be shown that there's trouble in the body. But here's another very powerful way that you can check if there's pain. You can run your hands along your animal's body and check for sensations of heat and cold. And where you sense heat, there may be inflammation. Or if it's mostly warm, but then you run into an area of cold, there may be no circulation in that area. And maybe a little massage would help. Or maybe touching your animal in a more intentional way than a simple pet. I always recommend that for especially small dogs, but every animal really that has any fur, that at least once a week you're checking in weird places for them, like under the arms and whatever, because those little tiny papilloma, little lipoma things that look like warts, many of them can be cancerous. And if you catch it early, as I have on my own dog, you can spend $1,000 and your dog lives 3-4 more years because they've had the skin removed in a skin surgery that day, but they're fine. Or you could leave it go and then they died 3 months later. So I want you to be touching your animals intentionally, and I want you to be starting to ask them, where do things hurt? And also feeling that with your hands through their field. Now, some of you may see my cat is always hiding under the bed. There's no way she'd let me touch her like that. That's okay. You can pretend. You put her in front of you. I know to some of you this sounds far-fetched, but you literally put the animal in front of you and you kind of roughly gauge where end and start would be. And you start to feel that. And that will tell your animal, that will tell your vet a lot as well. So I want you to begin to ask your animal about pain, sadness, and physical sensations in your home. This helped me a lot a few years ago because my dog had, what happened was she went to a mobile groomer at my house and she was 14 years old, no, maybe 13 at this time. And a couple days later, she was coughing. So I took her to the vet thinking she had a cold. It was quite severe, but very sudden. And the vet took an x-ray and came out to me and said, this is 7 years ago now, and said, I think she has lung cancer. He didn't say she has lung cancer. She said, I think she has lung cancer. My dog heard that, collapsed on the table. I took her to my car and I said, I'm going to come back and talk to you again. I took her to my car. She coughed up blood all over my car. And I thought, oh my God, like I'm a communicator and I live with this dog. Did I miss the cancer? Like, would I miss it because she's my dog and I'm scared of cancer? Like, what happened? And I went back and I was like, I'm really confused. But because I work on my intuition, right? And this is part of what this class should open up for you. Doesn't matter if it's for animals or for yourself. Think, ladies, for just a moment, I want you to think of a time when you have made a mistake, where you made the wrong decision. Could be for an animal, could be for a partner, it could be for whatever. And you knew it was wrong, but you couldn't tell why. And all the outside circumstances told you were crazy. So you did it anyway, right? And then you lost money, you got a divorce, you like something bad happened, think about that for a minute, right? Now you can speak up, with your voice or whatever. Tell me, how did you know, like after it was over and you were like, I just knew I shouldn't do that. Where did you feel that in your body?
In the gut.
In the gut, Robin says.
Yep.
Anybody else? Somewhere different?
In the solar plexus.
In the solar plexus. Did someone hear a voice in their head saying, don't do it, don't buy that thing?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
It's just so that voice is so quiet. It's just real easy to dismiss it. And that's what is hard. You have to really go, wait a minute. And that's the hard part because it's so quiet.
That's right, Gretchen. And so you think about that, and then isn't it a beautiful way showing, if we're going to do it through the animals that we love so much, and if you practice this work, right, it becomes a gift to you in your entire life, because you know that you can trust your intuition, because that crazy lady told you could talk to animals all the time, and it turns out to be true. And so then I can you imagine all that was going on for me in that vet appointment, right? I think I'm a failure as an animal communicator because my own dog has cancer, right? B, I'm going to lose my beloved, beautiful girl, right? C, she's coughing up blood all over my new car. D, I'm going to now challenge the white coat. But I feel it here and I feel it in my solar plexus. So I feel it in my heart and I feel it in my solar plexus. And I said, I'm really sorry. I don't know what to do yet, but are you 100% sure? And he was like, I'm like, is there something else we can do test that's not invasive? And he said, Well, I can send it out for another radiologist to check. And I said, I would really appreciate that because she has not been sick until today or yesterday. And this just doesn't seem to make a lot of sense to me. And I went home and I took her out of the car and she gave up. And this is another thing I want you guys to think about. My dog gave up because she heard the vet say she was going to die. So she lay in my hallway and she was just giving up. And I said to her, I stood over her and I was kind of mean. I was like, listen, girl, you don't get to do this yet. We have 3.5 hours before we know anything. So pull it together. She literally rolled her very remarkably Miss America eye at me like you are crazy. And 3.5 hours later, the vet called me and said, well, you were right. And I was wrong. She has pneumonia, but it's such a bad pneumonia that I thought it looked like cancer. And in 4 days of antibiotics, she will be fine. And in 4 days, that dog was standing up and walking around that vet's office. So learning this can save your animal's life.
Yes.
And that's what you want, right? She lived for another 1.5 years. So, and Jake's story, this is a client. This still flummoxes me. This is about a year ago. I'm not a horse person. I probably see 20 horses a year, and then I see 1,000 dogs and cats, right? But Jake was a friend's horse and had been very sick for 3 or 4 months. And the woman said, the reason we know he doesn't feel good is because he pees on his stomach all the time. And horses should not be peeing up. It's like he's holding his penis in a weird way, but nobody can figure out what's going on, but clearly he's in pain. And I was like, okay, I mean, we have a hospital vet and we have a vet at the grant, whatever, what do you call it? The stables. And then we have his trainer and nobody can figure it out. And I was like, oh, what am I going to do? Okay. I talked to Jake and Jake shows me, doesn't say anything, but he shows me a circle under his stomach. Okay. A circle, and it's red and inflamed. And then and it's huge. It looks like this to me. Right. And then he says, and it feels fiery and stingy. So I said to her, it feels fiery and stingy. It feels like it's under his stomach. I don't know what it is, but it must be a lesion, and it's very infected because it feels inflamed and hot and very uncomfortable. 2 hours later, she sends the trainer back to the barn. She goes herself and they look under the horse. And they find that his belly button is infected and has been so for 4 months. They clean it out immediately with something, and the horse drops his penis and does all the horse things they do. They stick out their tongue, like totally happy. I still can't tell you why 2 vets and a trainer had never looked under a horse before, because I don't understand horse care, but thank God. So you can do these types of things in this type of work because you are asking the horse or the cat or the dog different questions than other people would be asking. Okay. So don't you feel like it would really melt your worry away if you could figure out that a bad behavior is due to an old injury in a rescue animal that you get? Or if you can converse with your own pet and hear that voice in your head and know that he wants to just have a chat with you. Or my dog looked at me. I hope it's okay that I curse. I'm kind of a cursor. So if you don't like it, just bleep me in your head. But like my dog looked at me about 7 months ago and said, I'm so fucking bored on my couch. And I was like, you get 2-hour-long walks a day. You get fed twice a day. Someone's always petting you. And you're 12 years old. What do you mean you're bored? And she said, you think that's all we want to do is sit and watch you guys work or walk around the house? Like, I need more to do. So man, I had to go get myself a bunch of toy puzzles, and we have toy parade every day at 3:30, and they expect it, and I do little scavenger hunts, but it's good to be able to hear them so that they can make their complaints known. And it's also good to be able to know what purpose they want to fulfill in your house. Doesn't mean they always get full choice, but you can think about it and find a purpose that matches your needs and their personality. You have all the tools inside of you to become the animal goddess of your own home, and we're starting that now. So, are you guys do you guys understand the Jedi mind trick of flipping the script on your animal?
Yep.
Do you feel like you're the energy leader of your own home?
Working on it.
Yep. And here's the other thing. For those of us who are married in any way, I don't care who you're married to, I'm just saying, if you're partnered up, if your partner does not believe in this stuff at all, you're going to have to be careful about the languaging you use around them so that they don't sabotage your efforts. Am I making sense to you guys?
Yes.
Yeah, we can't talk about it in the same way. So I was doing a dying dog reading for someone this week, and she had made the mistake of telling her husband, who kept opening the door and screaming into the room, that he was a skeptic and that the dog should just be put to sleep now. And it was horrible for her. It was horrible for me. It was horrible for the dog. So you don't need to go telling, you don't share. In a way, this is a bit of magic, right? And one of the first rules of magic is you don't share your magic with everybody. You draw them in, you let them see what's happening without talking about it immensely, unless they're part of your soul group and they understand. But you can still say things like, I feel like the cats have kind of too much control over what's happening in the house here. And I'm going to start acting as though when I walk in a room, I'm the biggest presence in the room in a positive way. Maybe you want to try that with me too. But I'm going to tell you here and now, ladies, you're going to do it like this. You're going to imagine your aura being, instead of being 6 feet out from your body, you're going to imagine it being 20 feet out from your body, and not in a threatening way, but just like you're in charge. You're going to be looking and feeling your animals more intently, especially as like for me, I have 4. For Linda, she has 12. Or no, is that right? Is it Linda or is it Tina who has 12? If you have multiple, you're going to have to do it maybe once a month. You're not going to be able to do it all the time, but I want you to be kind of looking at them with your eyes a little soft and be seeing if you feel or sense that there's something off with them. And anytime behavior changes, that is usually an indication of physical stuff. So let's do a meditation now. Okay, I'm going to stop my share, ask if you have any questions, and then we're going to go into some meditation. No questions? Okay, great. All right, let's do it. You're going to meditate in your car there, Chrissy? Okay. Oh, I can't do that. I got to show you the doggies and the kitties first. And then we're going to go into meditation. All right, so this is my dog Liberty. I've told her like 3 times today that she's talking to a lot of you, and she's like very relaxed about it. So she's like, I do this all the time. Like, why are you worrying about it? That's Liberty. She is 12. Isn't she so stinking cute? Like,
She's adorable.
You can
That's
tell
my,
she knows
that's,
things.
what did you say?
You can tell through those eyes, she knows things.
Yeah, that's right. That's my Liberty. She's 12. I got her when she was, well, I'll talk about that later. But I got her like from a shelter. So the reason her name is Liberty is because she was, the reason she was, her name is Liberty because on the 3rd of July, I was doing social media for a pet rescue that I was working for. And her video came up on the screen along with 11 other dogs, her picture. And it said, okay, all of these dogs are to be euthanized at the Orange County Animal Shelter within the next 2 hours due to expected 4th of July overrun of the shelters of wanted pets. These are all strays, blah, blah, blah. So I asked my shelter to go pick her up, and they said, we don't have any room. My rescue, we don't have any room. We can't. And so then I called another rescue who agreed, and I said, I will foster that one. And my husband said it was fine. So I picked her up, and through a long series of stuff that would bore you, she ended up being our dog. So that's why we named her Liberty. And then this is my dog Finn. She lives with him. He is 15. This is also Gemma, who is 13. He doesn't live here. This is him. This is my son at college, but I dropped him this year. And this is how he looked 3 years ago. Oh my God, can you imagine? My husband, Chris, me, my son, Alexander, who is just going to turn 15. And then this is Liam. And Chrissy, can you see that little cat? Can you see Celine enough in there?
Yes, I can see her.
Okay, so that's Celine, who is now 7.5, and we've had her about 5 years. I'm probably the only animal communicator you will ever meet who assigns herself to get a grown semi-feral cat with 3 small young dogs just to see it be done. But it's done. And this is Liberty, Gemma, and Celine on the bed.
Cute.
And
Very cute.
the reason I show you that is because if you were to have a meeting with me, I would ask you, who do you live with? People and animals, right? And do you have any specific questions, concerns for your animal? Right? And that's because although this is very intuitive work, it's not like being a psychic, right? Like a psychic might be able to tell you the whole history of an animal's life and like see the farm that they were born on. I don't do that because I'm talking to the animal, right? So they might show snippets of being hit or being dropped at the side of the road, but then they might not show a whole movie sometimes. And a psychic that I respect very much on TikTok saw me say something that an animal communicator really should have, like at least 9 months of training under supervision, and then some other energy work skills so they can work on problems. And she argued with me in the comments and was like, no, you don't need any training, years of experience does enough. And I was like, yes, I respect what you do greatly. And there are times that I would send someone to you from me. But there should be times when you send people to me from you, because although you can tell that the dog has been stolen in a lost situation, or you can say your dog is sick or your dog is ready to die, you're not going to be able to actually support, or the dogs are fighting, he doesn't like that other dog. Are you able to support with energy work a shift in that household, a change in health, or a way that the medicine is actually going to work other than just seeing it? And she didn't say anything else. So that's the way that animal communication is different from psychism, right? All right, so now what I want you to do is get your pen and paper ready and just put it off to the side for yourself. I'm going to run us through a meditation. And then when I'm done running the meditation, I'm going to put the picture back up, the cute picture of Liberty kind of close up. And if it helps you to look at her, you're going to look at her on occasion while you're still in meditation. And this is the hard part for a lot of people. They're like, well, if I write it down, then I'm going to be out of meditation because I'm writing it down. That's certainly a way you can consider it. My belief is that if you just tell yourself, I'm going to do automatic writing and I'm going to stay in meditation just fine while I write a few things. You don't have to write a book. You can just write or draw something fast, shorthand for yourself. You will forget more than you remember if you don't write something down. So just a little bit, or how it feels, right? And there's only 3 questions. So now on your notebook, I want you to write down. This is easy, right? We're doing beginning today. I'm not making you decide if she's got kidney failure today. So you're going to write down like 3 things. What is her personality like? What is her really who does she see herself as a personality? What does she consider her jobs in the house, in my home? and she might give you, and like two of you could come up with a different job, and she has more than one, so that would not be a surprise. And then what does she love to do? What are some of her favorite things? Right? And the reason I showed you the picture of the dogs and the cat and the people is because, and I want you to write down the names of the people and the cats and the dogs, just in case she were to show you a picture of an animal, right? Or a person. So Lex or Alexander is the little boy, the 15-year-old. Liam is the guy at college. Chris is my husband. Kara is me, duh. And then the white dog is Gemma, and the other Chihuahua is Finn. She might not mention them. She might be like all about something else today. But the reason that she teaches, so in my longer 6-week course, I make you talk to some hard animals too. Because the cool thing about this work is, and for those of you who have multiple animals, some animals are more talkative than others. Some others like to do this. Some of them are like, I just like, leave me alone on the laundry pile. Like, I don't really want to do it. But you have to talk to all of them, right? But she likes to talk. So she's gonna, and how will you receive the information? You're gonna receive it in one of 3 ways usually. You're gonna hear words in your head potentially. You're going to feel it, just have a feeling like that she likes this, or you might see some pictures, right? There are different kinds of clairs, and we can go into those at another time. But there's actually, is it 8 clairs or 7? I think there's 8 clairs. But the major clairs are clairvoyance to see, clairaudience to hear, claircognizance to know, clairsentience to feel. Some people will smell it. She might actually make you smell waffles, for example, and you go, her favorite thing is waffles, right? Those types of things can happen for you. Now, for those of us who are nervous right now and who are like, shoot, I don't want to share. Like, you don't have to share if you don't want to. There's no pressure here that you have to share. But I want to encourage you of this. Even if you get nothing today, I want you to expect that it's a wonderful experience and you're getting to connect with a dog. So when you first go in to connect with her, I want you to send loving hearts, and I'll guide you in meditation on this, but I want you to send loving hearts, just like those pink emojis on your text message to her. And I want you to say, your Kara wants me to talk to you. Is it okay if I talk to you? And she's going to tell you yes in some way, and then you're going to ask your questions. But I want you to know that the first session that I sat in on myself, I was a PR person. I had a successful PR business for 15 years. And the only reason I took the course is because I'd read that book by Penelope Smith. And I said, I don't want to be a psychic because I don't want to be in people's mire of poo. But if I could talk to an animal, that would be great. And then a workshop popped up, and I went to the workshop, and everybody in the workshop was like, I'm a 7th generation Reiki master, angelic healer, and I have homeopathy in my house. And like every single one of them was like, I do this and blah, blah, blah. And then she gets to me, and I'm like, I'm just a PR chick with 4 dogs and 2 cats, and I'd like to be able to talk to them, and now I'm scared. And she was like, you know what? You're probably going to get more accurate than half the people in this class. And all of the Reiki masters were like, oh, right? How can you say that? And she said, because all of them are so used to trusting their intuition that sometimes they embellish, and they don't know that they embellish. So what I want you to focus on today, and I only got 3 things that day. I talked to her horse, and I got a flower wreath around the neck, which was my symbol that she was a winner. I saw outside of her, like her view from her to her pasture, which later I got to see in person, and it was the exact picture. And I got to be told that she said that she was fabulous and smart, right? That was who she was. That's all I got. Other people got 14 pages. And I was sitting there going, ugh. And then I said my 3 things. So I want you to focus on truly, instead of embellishing things you see, I just want you to focus on this. Like if you see purple and you sense that it's fabric, just say, I love purple fabric. You don't need to, I see purple fabric. You don't need to say, she loves a purple comforter, unless you saw the full comforter on the bed, you saw purple fabric. And that's where we can kind of trip up. All right. But don't worry about it, because this is time number 1. And it gets better and better and better and better and better. Okay. All right. I'm going to go do it now. Let's go do this. Let's do this meditation. Close your eyes. You got your questions you're going to ask. Everybody knows, right?
Yes.
All right. So I want you to put your feet on the ground or get really relaxed. And if you want to lay back, you can. That's okay. But we're going to find our way to connect our body, probably from the feet, or if you're on a bed, from your bottom, into the center of the earth. Okay. And we're going to imagine a golden ball of light underneath our feet. And it's really warm and kind of spinning and lovely. And it warms that bottom of our feet on this kind of wintry day. And we're going to send a stream of that light down into the center of the earth, that molten core you learned about in 3rd grade and we're so excited about. And it's really huge and hot and orangey, fiery red. And now you're going to connect from your golden light. You're going to pull up some of that energy of the molten core of the earth into your light and bring it slowly, 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 slowly up into your feet. And it's going to now start to light up your feet and into your base and base of your feet and into your ankles is this golden light. It might feel warm, might feel tingly. You might just be able to see it if you kind of exit your body and look at your body staring into your own eyes with your etheric body. You might see that golden light in your feet, and you're going to pull it up with each breath. So we're going to breathe in and pull it up into our knees. And then we're going to breathe in again and pull it up into our thighs and our groin. And we want to make sure that all the tension is leaving our body as we're doing this. So we're just letting it go. It can come back another time, but right now we're just feeling that warmth and the relaxation through our body up into our groin. And now we're breathing again up into our chest and our belly. And then with our next breath, we're going to push it up into our shoulders and out our arms into our hands, awakening the golden, well, they're not golden, but the chakras in the palm of our hands, but we're going to make them golden with this light. And now you're pretty gold, right? Except for your head. If you're not gold, blast yourself with some gold. Reinvigorate that feeling. Breathe it up. And then pull it all the way up into your head. Well, now your whole head should be vibrating with golden light. You may feel your kind of a little airiness in your head and an expansion of the awareness around your brain. And that's wonderful. And then you're going to think of all those nasty thoughts that have been saying you're afraid today. And you're going to pull them out your left ear, and you're going to throw them fairly aggressively out with your left arm and throw them outside of your aura. Thank you for protecting me, but you don't need to be here now. I am safe. I can do this. And all those fears can come back later. But for now, I believe that I can talk to animals. And now we're going to take that golden light. You are now a column of light. We're going to take that golden light and we're going to push a big, huge chunk strand out of your head and forward in front of your feet, just like a weeping willow branch. And we're going to connect it underneath the earth with that core of you, and then push it right back up through your body. So you are in essence creating your own column of light. and pull that column of light with each breath up through your body and out your head and forward under the earth, back up through your body and up forward through the head, out, down, up, out, down, up, out, down. And then you're going to push this next strand. You're going to leave that column going and you're going to push a beam of light up into the skies. And you're going to ask to connect with spirit and source energy. And you're going to pull that silvery light down into your body. And it's going to connect in your solar plexus with the light from Mother Earth. And you're going to ask that you are protected, you are in divine light, and the guardian angels of yourself and of liberty are with you now. And you're going to ask for your heart to open. You're going to ask for your throat chakra, which sits right in the throat area and is a lovely turquoise color, to open, because that's where we communicate. You're going to ask for your third eye, which sits right above your eyebrows, to open and is an indigo color. And I want you to see your eye looking out from your third eye. So imagine your own eye as you see it in the mirror and open your third eye from that center, please. And then open the crown chakra to receive information from spirit. Okay, once again, I'm going to say the heart chakra is open. The throat chakra is open. The third eye is open for intuitive information, and the crown chakra is open to receive message from spirit. And when you are ready, you will be sending a blast of pink hearts to My Liberty. I'm going to turn on the picture now, and then you can ask her to speak to you. And I'm going to give you guys about 5 minutes. I'm going to give you one more minute to kind of wrap it up. Okay, at this point, anybody who's watching the replay, you'll want to pause here, get your notes in order, and then you want to listen to what other people have said and see if it jives with what you found. If you have questions, you can, of course, email me at kara@petseiview.com. Thank you. Okay, my friends, so lovely to spend a Saturday morning with all you smiling faces. I hope you felt you got to connect with Liberty. And once again, there's no, if you don't want to share, you don't have to share, but I would love it if you would share, particularly if you felt like you had a challenge so that we can work through it. But it is not easy at first always. And for some people, they might get a flood. You just don't know. Okay. So would anybody like to share?
I'll share.
Okay.
I'm still emotional. I got incredibly emotional doing this. So I apologize, but I'm an empath and I'm sensitive. So I think that affects me somewhat. She told me when I asked her about her personality, she told me that she was sparkly. That's what I heard, was that she was fun and sparkly. So this is what I got. So I don't know how this is going to play out.
Neither does anyone else on this call. Right? Nobody else knows what's going to happen. I don't either. Okay, go ahead. So,
okay. And as far as her jobs, she said she's a communicator and her job is to love everyone, to love all. Her favorite things and everything, she says she likes to bounce. Is she a bouncy dog? She likes to jump.
I should say that I'm going to keep a poker face through all of it so y'all can hear everyone, and then you'll see a few common threads. So I'm not going to give you any feedback. I'm sorry.
Okay. Apparently she has a bone that she likes, and she likes turkey. And she thinks because she's very busy that she deserves a treat today. And then it was just this overwhelming feeling of love. And it's still there.
Thank you.
I love it. Can I go next, Kara?
Of course, Tracy.
So I forgot all the questions, of course, because I couldn't write them down. But I'll just tell you what I got, just generally. It was pretty succinct. I got really beautiful kind of shimmery colors of purple and green. And then I saw her walking on the street, like jumping on a curb near grass. And then I saw like, it might've been like a multicolor ball, like just a lot of colors. And I was thinking maybe it was a ball or it was a little plaything. But that was it. That was what I got. When I didn't really have any questions to ask, I was just like, tell me what you want to show me.
Thank you very much. Okay.
Can I go next?
Of course.
So I kind of took the same approach as the Tracy that just shared, and just kind of said, what do you want to say? And I saw her by a food bowl, kind of sitting there. But then I also had the same, I was nodding with the street image because she was trying to show me something about the street and this grass and a tree. And then also I saw her sitting out, she was like standing on the couch with her paws and looking out the window. So I'm guessing maybe she likes to do that. And then I also saw her being held by Liam. So I don't know why she was showing me that, but those are some things that she was just showing me, some random things. And I just said, all right, just go for it.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, 1 second, guys, just give me a second because I want to send the picture I took of her. I took a picture of her while you guys were talking to her, so you can see what it looks like, because it doesn't look like anything, right? And like, so they don't stare back at you while you're having a conversation. You can talk to them while they're sleeping and their higher self is still, which she wasn't, but give me just a second because I'm a little, I'm just a little, what would you call that? Like, I'm not very adept at everything. So I need just a second.
Well, discombobulated, that's my word.
Yeah, that's what I am often.
Discombobulated.
I say that I'm technologically handicapped.
I like that one.
I say I'm feeling verklempt.
Okay.
Oh, I like that one too.
I just don't want to, I want to make sure I get this picture, but I don't want to not be listening to you, when you're sharing. So just 1 second. I don't know how to do this. So give me a second. If I can save this. How do I do that? How do I do this? I want to send it where? Where do I want to send it? If I said, I'll just
Why don't you share your screen instead?
Oh, duh. Okay, thank you. Here
You
we
can
go.
also share pictures in the chat, I believe.
I know, but I'm
Yeah.
not able to. Can you see her
Oh,
now? Yeah.
So cute.
Oh, there she is.
We exhausted her.
Yeah. Okay, so that was her just 5 minutes ago. Okay, who would like to go now? Anybody want to share? Oh, Linda, please.
oh. So I've never done this before with an animal. I'm usually more empathic towards people, but I've been working on this, but all I got was a feeling of fun and happiness, entertainer, purple. I saw a ball, and there was a past trauma or hurt somewhere behind her eyes, but she's okay.
Mhm. Okay, thank you.
I'll go next.
All right.
The first thing she told me is I love my mom. She has a joyful personality and she likes to give comfort. That's her job. She likes to make people happy is what she loves to do.
Thank you. Anything else? Any other pictures or anything?
That was it.
Okay, thank you. Who would like to go? I don't want to put pressure on you, but if the more of us who share, the more are you already starting to see some commonalities in the 4 or 5 who have shared so far?
Yeah, I was like scared to share it first. And then Robin was saying things that I had written down and I was like, okay, it's not all wrong. Okay.
Yeah, I felt the same.
All right. Would anybody else like to share? Okay, go ahead, Chrissy. I'm sorry, you guys
Okay.
looking at.
It's okay. So I connected with Celine. And I got when I asked.
No, you can't. Because if anybody comes again, like I want them to talk.
Oh, okay. I'll email you. That's right. My
Email me.
bad. Okay.
Okay, sorry. Okay. Sorry about that.
No, it's okay. I think I was picking up on some of the other people's stuff. So when I email you, I'm really interested on if I picked up from the other humans and Liberty, and kind of like got it mixed in a little bit with Celine, because some of the stuff that other ladies were saying, I was just like, I kind of got a little bit of that too. So I'm really curious.
That's a good thing to bring up, because if we were in a room together, or if this were a group of 6 or 7, one of the things I would do would be having us do like an intuition exercise before we talk to the animal. And some people are very powerful senders and some people are very powerful receivers. And if everybody's got a lot of intuition going on in a room, you will catch stuff from other people, and you do have strong intuition. And so that's why some of you go into a grocery store and you're like, I got to get out of here, even if it's not the most crowded time of day, because everybody's thoughts are too busy for you. Right. So we go, shields up, before we go to the grocery store. Okay, so when you do this next, my friend Chrissy, you're gonna go shields up from other people and only connecting to the dog or the cat. Okay, would anybody else like to share? I'm sorry, Chrissy. You can talk to me after.
I'll go ahead and go.
Okay, I would love that. Thank you.
So her job that came to my mind was to help balance everyone's emotions basically in the household and help keep everybody grounded and balanced. And what she loves to do, I got cuddles, affection, and I got like a picture of just like walking through the woods or nature in general. And that's kind of all I got.
Thank you. Okay, Erin, would you like to try or tell us?
I literally got nothing, so a little upsetting.
I'm sure that is. I know that that feels. Now, I want you to, like, as you've listened to other people here, did you kind of go, oh, yeah, that echo, like I had an echo. Okay. And if just looking at her picture, without going deep into meditation, what would you think of that dog? You don't have to answer me now, but I want you to make a little free appointment to talk to me afterwards, and I will help you to do it. And it is about meditating more, right? More meditation and more time. I put you under a pretty strict time requirement. 5-6 minutes. Really, you had about 7 minutes. It's not very much time. And there's a lot of like just letting go of it needing to be right. Because guess what? I've been doing this 12 years and I think I'm one of the better animal communicators out there. And I'm not going to be right 100% of the time. And I did training for 3 years. I did a really intensive program, right? In energy work and animal communication work. And it was really hard for me to get to the idea of every time I connected to an animal, I wasn't going to get absolutely everything right, because I was a straight A student and I like to be good at my job. And then I felt like I was going to fail all the time. So I have some exercises for you that will help you to get to where this is easy and easier, but it doesn't happen overnight. But there's nothing wrong with seeing nothing the first time at all. Okay. Okay. Did anybody else want to share? Sarah, or have we caught everybody yet? Hi,
Well-
Lexi, did you miss it? Did you miss the meditation?
I just was able to join. Yeah, just now.
Oh, okay. Well, then you'll need to go back and watch the replay. And I suggest actually you drop off right now, because otherwise you're going to hear what other people say.
Okay,
And I want it to be an experience for
sure,
you.
will do.
When you watch the video, we're going to get to a point where I put the dog's picture up on the screen, and then I'm going to tell you, go ahead and find out what you find out. When you get done with that, you want to write your little notes once you've done it, and then you can pop up and have everybody pop up and see how it compares for what you found.
Oh, that makes sense. Okay, thanks.
Right. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Okay.
Sarah, Gretchen had wanted to share. She raised her hand a couple times, but she's one of those quiet people.
I'm not that quiet, but I am being quiet. Is it okay, Kara?
Yeah.
Okay. So I got actually she said hi to me. I thought that was really interesting. She's like, hi, Gretchen. But I got bouncy, like she's super, like she's in a good mood, and I got that she's like in the performer mode right now. So I got that she's super excited to be doing this today, and that she's just like, I got a vision of her running around, hopping around in a little circle. and she's just like bouncy and like, she's like, this is what I do really well. And so I got that energy from her. And so she's like really enjoying herself. And then I was like, well, that's great. I was like, what are you going to do after? And she's like, she said she hopes she gets something to eat, but she's like, I may end up taking a nap. So those are, and then I got a little bit like, I was like, what's going on in the house? And she's like, we're all good. But she said she's keeping an eye on Celine. So that's all, the only thing. She's just like, kind of like just checking in on Celine on stuff. And that's all I got.
Physical or mental?
Physical. Like like watching where she goes, what she's doing.
But not her health. You mean her?
No, not her health, but just like watching what she's up to and where she's at.
Okay. Okay. Have I missed anyone who wants to speak? I haven't, have I? No. Okay. If you did not get anything, that is common the first time. You are going to get a meditation at the end of this that I want you to do every day with your animals. And ask me for a second one. I have a different one I'll send you as well. They're two different ones. But you have to write me so I'll remember how to find it and send it to you. And I'm always available to talk through it. Now, Gretchen has taken my 6-week communication and energy work class. Can you just describe, and so you saw her say, like, I talked to Liberty and she was like, hi, Gretchen. Actually, I have that happen to me quite often because I talk to people 2 or 3 times a year, maybe, and their animals are like, oh, here you are again, right? Like, and then how you doing? So will you just explain a little bit about the class? I know I'm putting you on the spot, but
no, that's okay. Yeah, I'd be happy to. Well, first of all, I will say that it was like pretty much life-changing for me. So I have 4 pets, one of them who does have a pretty serious 2 illnesses. And so I just wanted to be able to like connect better. And so like many of you on the call, like I have always gravitated towards animals and I've always been very good with animals. So I just wanted to learn how to take it to a different level. So anything else, it's like when you go to the gym, you can't pick up a 3-pound weight, but then after 6 weeks, I was like, okay, I can pick up a 10-pound weight now already. And so like, it is interesting. So it just takes like time and practice. My mom thinks that I'm like, I'm level 7 or something and I can do everything. And I'm like, no. But it is pretty cool. And I will say that the one thing that happened immediately was that in my household, like all the energy shifted with my pets. And like literally I became like Snow White. It was weird. Like they all started like following me and wanting to be near me. And they look at me like the eye contact is intense now. And so I know they want more from me. So I have to just like, okay, they want more. I have to give them more. So that was incredible. So they really did like, it like changed our relationship. So
yeah. And in that class, you work on like people come often with an animal who is ill or 2 animals who aren't getting along. And you do the animal communication practice with about 10 animals. And you also do energy work privately with me on whatever problems you may be having in your home. And you learn energy work techniques to keep your animals healthy and the whole house calmer. So let me go through what you found on your animals. Thank you, Gretchen. Liberty is sparkly. She is the sparkliest one in the house. She's got the biggest personality at 12 years old, and she is a communicator, and she does think it's her job to love all. But the thing that I got very clearly from her while you guys were talking to her is it made her laugh that I've never done that before, like send the emoji hearts together, that she's never had that before. So she's like, okay, I love everybody. Like that was just lovely. She loved that. Okay. And she does. Yes. And so very good, Robin. And then are you the one that said bounce? Is that right? Or who said that?
2 of us said, and I have to say, I don't mean to interrupt you, but listen, going first and then hearing everyone else, because I was scared to go first, but I was so emotional, I needed to get
Yes.
through it. And it's validating to hear similar or exactly the same thing.
Yes.
Yes, and it does get better. Like Gretchen is not giving herself enough credit. By the end of our class, she was able to read everybody's dogs and cats. Mostly they had dogs. But part of Gretchen's challenge in the cohort she went through with it maxes out at 6 people, was that everybody else in that class, besides Gretchen, was like, no, one other person in Cutter was like a master like meditator of like 25 years or like something in the healing arts. And so she was like, whoa, it's a lot, but keep meditating. You don't have to do my meditations. Pick anything you like to do and do that. And your whole thing will open. Now, I can't remember who this was, Bouncy, but I think this is you, Robin. I think this is you, Robin. So still, Bones that she likes. Before you guys started, I gave her a chew stick because like, you need a reward for talking to 20 people today. Here's this, just chew on this, but listen for them. And she's like, okay, good. That's good. Thank you. And then she does love turkey, and she eats almost exclusively commercially prepared turkey patties, raw turkey patties.
Wow.
It's about love. And then Tracy, beautiful summer color, shimmery colors of purple and green. I think what you're seeing there, Tracy, if you're still there, is what she thinks her soul looks like. Yeah. And also our house is full of purple. So that's part of it. I'll see if I can't I'll just send you a picture of my purple bed later, but I have a purple bed. And she was just on a walk before you guys all got on, like before she got her chew stick, she got her hour-long walk, and she loves to jump up and off the curb like that. I don't know about the multicolor ball, but an interesting thing happened to my apprentice. I have 2 apprentices, and one of them said to me, I kept seeing this orange ball for this dog over and over and over again. The one was like, he doesn't have an orange ball. He doesn't have an orange ball. I don't know what you're talking about. And then like 2 months later, she sat up in bed after sleeping all night and was like, it's the sun. Like sometimes we don't quite know like what we're looking at. And this woman loves to go visit the sunset with her dog at the beach.
The orange ball.
Nobody interpreted it correctly, right? It's the sun. So I have to think about that ball because I don't have a multicolor ball, but I'll think, oh shit, I do have a multicolor ball. In my backyard, there's a multicolor crystal ball against the pool. I would not eat, because she just talked to me like right when she's like, yes, we have a multicolor ball. And I'm like, oh, yes, we do. I'll take a picture of it and I'll send that to you. If I don't, there's a lot of pictures for me to send. So if I don't, tell me.
It
And
felt sparkly, Kara. That's what's so cool. Like I
Yeah.
interpreted
Crystal.
it as a ball, but it was like, yeah, sparkly or just all these different colors. So yeah, that's so cool. I love it. Anyway.
Go out there. Can you guys see my pool?
Yeah,
Yes.
nice.
Oh, that looks great.
The blue thing on the other side of the pool.
Yeah.
Yeah. There it is.
Cool.
That's it. She likes that thing. And she does walk along back there. I didn't know she could see it or even think about it. Okay, Angela, her food bowl, she's clearly extra hungry today. I did not feed her this morning, so I bet she just didn't get enough because she mentioned that several times. The street image and a tree. Yeah, she loves being outside. If we could take her outside all the time, she would love it. So she was showing you her favorite things. And then pause on a couch and looking out the window. You just saw my big French door here. I have 3 sets of French doors along the back of my ranch house. So she's always looking out the window, right? And then she likes being held by Liam. I think so. I don't remember because he hasn't been here long enough to do it, but he's nice to all the dogs. I think she misses him because today she knows And this is how I say they pick it up. I have not gone out and had an explicit conversation with her, but we're leaving after this call is over. I'm going to go drive out to see my son at the University of Laverne, and I haven't seen him for a few weeks. So she knows that that's on the plate. So she's thinking about her boy. And I haven't checked with her, but I bet she's wondering, like, why can't I see him? How come you guys get to go see him, but he's not here, right? Now, Linda, feeling fun and happiness, purple. My bed is purple. Everything on my bed is purple. And she does love, she's not a ball, like go catch or fetch at all, but there are ball-y type things that we use for food that we fill in with food, and she carries them and she likes to steal them right in front of you. Everybody, she will try to pick up as many as she can in her mouth or the chew sticks and like go hoard them. You have to be careful of that. Past trauma or hurt. Yes, Liberty was found on the street. She was deemed inappropriate to be adopted. So she was never put out at the shelter for being seen at all. Because she tried to bite the veterinarian, so they saw she was a bite risk. She never bit anybody.
She was just scared.
And so she has had some trauma in her life, and she's still like high alert, I would say. So that is managed. So that's another thing about animal communication and energy work. I do a lot. I can help a lot, but we, all of us, even animal communicators, have behaviors that we work around. We do the best we can with them to give a traumatized animal changes to their life, but then we also give them some grace about, we're not going to put you in that situation because it's too much for you, right? And so we're going to do this. So she's still high alert, but much better. Did I miss anything? She does love to make happy, and she is, I am her favorite. I am her person. Like she would like to push everybody else. Who said that she's worried about Celine's physical? Okay, Gretchen, like she would like the cat to not be on the bed. Right? Like she likes to own me. Like why is it she gets to share the bed with the cat? Like
like she's keeping an eye out, like, what are you doing? Like, okay.
Oh.
Yeah. So she's not too thrilled about that. And then Liz helping balance everyone. Yes. And cuddles. Yes, she's my cuddler. Yes. And then what I can't read the last bit that I wrote, affection, and then I think I wrote something with a W. Throw, return. Can you say the last couple things you said, Liz?
Yeah, I said nature walks. Like I just got a picture of the woods and trees.
Yeah. She hasn't done that. So what she's telling you, like, we haven't done that lately. And so she basically, she's using you. Okay, if I'm going to talk to 13 people, it's hard enough, but then I'll put in my requests. Like I haven't taken her out of her suburban neighborhood for a while. Right. So that's unfortunate. So I will have to do that with her. And then bouncy, good enough, bouncy, good. And she wants to eat. Yes. Okay. We've got it. And she hopes she gets to eat afterwards. Yes. All right. We have it. And then something about physical or mental. Who said that?
I believe you did. I believe it was when Gretchen was saying that she's keeping her eye on Celine that you asked if that was physical or mental.
She's keeping an eye on Celine.
Physical or health, I think.
Yeah. Okay, so do you have any, let me talk about, did you see how you spoke to the same animal? That there were some variations, but for the most part, you spoke to the same animal, right? And that she used you to like get some of her requests. Right? So now I gotta feed her. Yeah. Okay, so here's the other thing I would tell you. For those of you who did not ask questions and just let the information kind of flood over you, it almost makes it harder for you. Because if you don't ask the questions, then you don't know what you're getting the information about. And then it's more difficult for you to ask the follow-up questions. Like, I'm sorry, I don't always understand everything I get. And sometimes I just have to say to the client, I don't know what this means, but I see a red chimney. And when I ask her, do you love a red chimney? Is there a red chimney in your house? I'm getting nothing, or I'm getting very little. And they might fill in the blank, or they might not know. And sometimes people will, like I said to a woman at the park that was my husband's friend, your old dog really wants a green comforter. It's a fully fat green comforter. And the woman was like, I don't have a green comforter. So I felt like an asshole. And I was like, okay, I'm sorry. Like, it's my husband's friend and I look like a dumbass. Okay. And I go home, and like 3 hours later, she called my husband and was like, oh my gosh, I found a green comforter in the garage from 6 years ago. And I didn't even know I had it. So sometimes you don't know what it is you're seeing or feeling, and you just have to wait for it to appear, right? It will maybe appear at some point. And sometimes you will also sense, like, you can ask any question you want, right? I gave you simple questions, but you could ask, like, do you hate the cat? And you might get a different animal. Which cat do you not like very much in my 12 cat home? Why don't you like them? And then they might do things like this, Linda or Rita. They might do things like show you that cat in like a bowler hat and like being from the 1940s, like with a gun, and say like, and then that's your impression that that cat is too pushy and
Okay.
too much in the house. And so then you're going to have to negotiate changes, you know, in that relationship. Yeah. All right. Are there any questions before I finish up my little presentation for you guys?
No.
I when I was talking to Liberty, the word herder came to my mind, and then I was like, no, she's not a herder. And then I was like, is that your job? No, that's not your job. But then as Gretchen said, she was checking on Celine, and then I thought maybe she just likes to know where everyone is in the house and make sure everybody's where they're supposed to be. Because it was a herder, but it wasn't a herder. It caused a mind fuck, is what it did. My brain was fighting, and I didn't know what to do with it.
Yeah. Okay. So that's very important. It's also important to say the things thank you for bringing that up. Thank you for being transparent with it. It's important to say the things that you don't understand or that don't seem to make much sense. So for myself, I'm trying to give you an example, but it's not coming to me right now. Like, if I don't say something, especially for a lost animal, for example, and it seems random, but like that lost animal, I could say, I hear water. And it sounds crazy. Like, why would I hear water in suburban Minnesota? But I don't know that there's a stream that they need to go to about a half mile from their house, right? So it's important that you say that. So you said herder, she said herder. Well, what I was waiting to see would happen, and it doesn't always happen because she's a little, she does what she wants to do. I don't get to, I tell her, try show and she just looks at me like, I'll do what I want to do. So she showed you herder because she is a reincarnation of my previous dog, who was a Shetland Shepherd. And the balls can be a reference to the fact that he was a fetcher, right? But she didn't tell anybody I'm reincarnated. She didn't tell anybody this time, but if you heard herder dog, she doesn't herd too much. She does look for everybody, but she is my herder dog come again. And if you look in the logo of my business, my little Sheltie is in that logo.
That's crazy, because I had an image of my friend Cheryl's dog who was passed, Sophie, who is an Australian Shepherd and herded everybody. And I'm like, why am I thinking about Sophie? Get back to it. So I'm like my own worst enemy with this, right? I'm arguing with myself.
You just have to write what you see, and it doesn't
Okay.
matter if it's right or wrong or you feel. And getting to also know, like, it feels feel like if you do this on TikTok or Instagram and they go intuition test, right? And maybe some of you are those people that puts those up. What color stone am I holding? And like the pressure, like, you guys are very brave to be here today, right? Like, you're on camera. Someone asked me, are we going to be on camera? And I was like, yes, we're going to be on camera. And like, to be in front of all of these people and to do it and to make yourself vulnerable, like, this is very scary. right? And it gets better, right? It
I'd
gets
like to
better.
say some of my other work, because I do work with a psychic and trying to develop some of my own empath and other, she calls them gifts. Sometimes they're not gifts. You can get overwhelmed. But I know that sometimes when I'm doing meditation and I'm trying to do writing or whatever, I get input not just from one spirit. So they intermingle. So it's possible that Linda also got messages from some other animals that she knew that
So,
to fall into the realm, if you will. And
maybe it was Sophie.
yeah, I'm kind of blowing that out of my rear end, but I know it's happened to me. It's like, wait a minute, I thought I was dealing with this person, but now it's something else.
Yeah. How do you protect yourself? Okay, so that trauma crap coming to me does not surprise me at all, because Rita and I are cat behaviorists. And one of our very first questions, do you know where Fluffy was before you got Fluffy? Because trauma is behind some, we have cats that are rescued from hurricanes and hoarder situations and have been returned to the shelter 82 times, and it wrecks me. And so when I was seeing the pain behind Liberty, but she was telling me it's okay. But it was kind of screwing me up a little bit. And I'll tell you, sometimes after sessions, I just have to sit down and cry for a while. I don't know why I'm crying now. And deal with what's happened to some of these animals. So how do you protect your soul from that?
That's a very good question. That's a very good question. And I guess I'm trying to think how to say this. If I'm going to be a clear channel, and I'm going to be of the most service to that animal and to the people, because I'm usually dealing with people who are in deep trauma with an animal that they might want to give up, or they might want to whatever it is. I know that I'm going to be taken the most seriously if I look like this versus if I'm falling apart.
Pull it together. Paul, we have a session in 11 minutes.
Thanks, on thanks.
You know what I mean? Like, so it's like, I work a lot on the meditating and the grounding and understanding that it's not my job to be connected to the emotion. I can observe the emotion, but it's not my emotion. I'm not always successful, but I'm mostly successful because I understand that I'm separate from that energy and I can watch it go by, and that it's also my job. But I'm an energy worker and you're not an energy worker yet. You will be, but it's my job to clear the energy, to not become a victim of that energy that I see, because that's what I'm there to do. But
It's
I've
not easy.
do that.
No, it's not. But so do you meditate after a session and send it on?
Sometimes, Linda, we don't have time
Okay.
between sessions, you know.
I know. But even if I could take 2 minutes and put it in a box and send it on or something, because sometimes it gets heavy.
Yeah. Well,
Set
and
the intention. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Set the intention. I am my soul is free to observe, not absorb.
Oh, I like that. Thank you. Thank
Thank
you.
so much. Yes.
Thank you.
Fine.
Write that down, Linda.
Yeah.
Yeah, you go into session with knowing with a counselor that you're not the feeler, and then you can more with the emotion, right? Okay, guys, I'm gonna try to kind of wrap this up for you a little bit. I'm gonna share my screen again, and you've done very well. And even if you didn't get anything, I just want you to contact me and we will continue to work on it. And you should be using the meditations that I send you. Little friend. And you can always do this and like like Chrissy's doing, you can talk to another cat, another animal of mine. And I'm really proud of you. So you're going to get a 15% off any session after this call. And it's going to come in email tomorrow. If you have an animal who has serious issues, you talk to me first about how those issues are, and we can discuss how to best tackle them. I work with both dog trainers and holistic vets across the country in like team formation. And now I'm working with the Cat Behavior Alliance as well, Tina and Linda, so that so that if I feel you need someone else on your team besides me, we bring that in. I also have a Animal Soulmate Fellowship 6-week course in animal communication and energy work. And that doesn't start again until May. So there's plenty of time to talk about that. And if you have already done some animal communication work, usually through that course with me, you can also apprentice. I'm going to turn this off.
Hi, my name is.
So here's a couple of people that have been trained by me. Jill has several animals in her house, and she came to me because she had had so much death in her animal household and a couple of new additions, and it just wasn't going well. So she took that course. She learned how to talk to her animals. She really shifted because we learn EFT for animals and people in that course. And one of the most interesting things that she said was that she said, I realize, because sometimes you have problems in your house because you have not always, so please don't take this personally if you're listening to this. Sometimes you have problems in your animal house because you have a need to have a problem there so you don't have a problem somewhere else. And she, through the process of EFT, realized she was always worried. And because I said, we're supposed to work on these animals, but every time I'm meeting you, we're working on a different animal in the house. What's going on? And she said, yeah, I did some tapping on that you taught me. And I realized through the EFT that if I have a problem, a physical problem with one of my animals, then I don't feel like I have to worry about my marriage or my work. Right?
Wow.
That's pretty profound, right? So she was able to tap that out and tap it out of the animals so that they didn't have to try to take care of her in that way. And her animals are much better now. And then Alyssa had 2 dogs that were not getting along. She's a dog groomer also. And we were able to make the second dog not feel like so much having to be a rock star all the time. And she also thought this little dog here was just a mean old man. But we also discovered through the energy work she learned with me and private session that he had a lot of pain in his lower back. We got him some chiropractic adjustments, and he's a much nicer little dog now. And then Alicia had very aggressive dogs, young puppies that just needed to be taught, and she had to take back the energy leadership of her home. And all these people are still in touch, and some are in that club that I do. And I'm going to give you a meditation, and you're also going to get the ebook, but you may already have the ebook if you're already on my email list, and that's okay. If you have any questions or you need any more help from me, I want you to feel free to call me at any time. And if you're interested in joining that course with me in the spring, you can also email me and I will talk to you about that. It's a 6-week intensive journey inside the mind, body, soul of your animals and yourself. And it's pretty fabulous. I do say so.
Awesome.
I have really enjoyed getting to know all of you, and I look forward to you staying in touch and letting me help you with your animals. You know, not everything requires a session. You can just send me a little text or an email and say, I don't know what should I do about this? But I want to tell you that those 2 things I'm giving you, the meditation is about putting your animal in the center of your being and in your third eye, and kind of talking to them in meditation at the beginning of the day. And it will change the flow of your day if you do it even 2 to 3 times a week. And then if you really intentionally set the purposes of your animals in your house,